Ready, hunt!
Bob, what are your thoughts about TCU jumping into the conference?
I think it's great. The whole, with TCU, the whole proximity, the success, and the strong program that they have. All of that for fans to travel there and hear, excellent team, and then for player family. So I just think for this whole region, it's really a positive. And so I think we've really made some excellent strides here, and I appreciate, the work of, the President Boren and all the presidents, what they've been doing over the last several weeks to improve our conference. When you look at the revenue sharing now that they're, agreeing to, when you look at the agreement that whoever has a network now or may have one in the future, that we're not going to, deal with high school games or highlights. And these kind of things are all showing good faith that we're all working together and can build a strong conference that can all trust one another and work together, with one another. And because when you look at it, the strength of this conference is still here, and there's a lot of it. When you look at the quality of teams, and you're bringing in, TCU, who just a year ago won the Rose Bowl, beat a good Wisconsin team. So anyway, hopefully we could keep making these strides, because again, what I think what's happened in the last couple of weeks has been significant and positive.
Would you rather 10 teams or 12 teams?
Either way is fine with me. At the end of the day, as long as you have an automatic BCS berth, it's positive, and again, I think where we're maybe always in a good position because of the strong out of conference schedule we have always played and have in the future.
Chuck Nine has been on the job now 2 weeks. A lot of good things happened since he got here as the commissioner. Can you take us back to '98 and his role in you landing here and your history with him?
It's hard for me to say Chuck's role in hiring me, only because I think his role was more with Joe Castiglione and advising and whether he suggested me, whether Joe knew of me from my time being in the Big Eight. They never told me how that all happened, so I think Joe could probably give you a little more insight on that. The times I have visited with Chuck, an absolute professional. I appreciated that he was very positive with Joe and our administration about me, and that if this is the direction they wanted to go, that that he thought it would work and be good. And but at the inner workings of it, I don't really know. But I think Chuck's his leadership, his experience is really going to be great for us getting this, moving us forward right now. So I sure appreciate him, and whatever the role he had, I'm glad he was part of it, because it's worked out pretty good for us, for me, for sure.
The first thing you said when you mentioned TCU was proximity. And there does seem to be this thought that 12 is better than 10, but it also seems every other university you hear about, if it was to go to 12, would be not very within proximity. What do you think about that? Does that bother you?
Well, you know what? With the right teams, 12 would be great. Mm-hmm. So if it works that way and keeps moving that way, then that'll be great. But if it doesn't, and we don't feel that the other bringing in 12, makes us any more powerful, stronger, whatever it may be, richer, any of that stuff, then maybe it isn't the right thing to do. But again, that's where, we've got a great administration that knows what they feel is the right thing to do there.
Bob, you've coached in the SEC, and they are obviously very, very strong, but there certainly is there's probably an SEC bias. And it seems to a lot of us that the Big 12 maybe gets a little bit discredited because it's pretty darn good. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not much on lobbying or trying to state a case. I think the way everybody plays, that's what the cases are. And at the end of the day, what everybody keeps bringing up is they've won the last championships, 5 championships. So until that's the case, then they're going to say that they're the best. So then whatever conference wins one, then they'll be the best from then on. Maybe or maybe not, so it's just see how that goes, but if it ever happens. But anyway, so I'm not much on. I got too much to do working on Kansas, and it's only the 7th game of the year, so I'm going to concentrate on that.
With your defensive background, when a team has 3 high-quality receivers like you do, what challenges does that present when you got a Reynolds now joining Steels and Brewers being productive every week? How tough is that on the defensive
Well,
part?
it can stretch them. It can, and I still feel James Hanna's pretty special, and Austin Haywood too as tight ends. So it gets hard to double anybody in particular because we don't mind going to any of the other guys that may be one-on-one or maybe in a different seam than the one Ryan's in. So it has a chance to just stretch the defense more.
Bob, as Tony gets comfortable, moving back to safety, he admits that he's still a lot more comfortable up front where he's played a bunch, but how did he play on the back end?
He played really well. Tony, always plays great, and he had another great game. So, yeah, he was fine back there, and that's something we did some in the summer. And again, depending on personnel and all, we like to get a bigger guy out at that Sam nickel like Corey, and then Tony, is a really accomplished player. He goes in more at safety, so it's just something we'll continue to do from time to time.
How did Eichert play, and what's the latest on Hayburn?
Gabe played really well. Was one of the several linemen up front that were listed as having a really good game. Actually, and Adam Shedd came on and had a really good game, which was really good to see. Another really young lineman that we really played in a good way, and both tackles too. Donald Stevenson and Lane Johnson had excellent games. When you would think so with all the protection. Throwing the ball 50 times and keeping Landry as clean as we did. You had asked about Ben. I'm not sure. I have to get updated here. I'm sure he's still a few weeks away, I'm guessing, right? That's why I'm not sitting here looking for him just yet.
It looks like Jarvis is playing a little more each week, getting
Yeah.
a little closer. And
That's what it is. He's just trying to get him enough snaps to get him more and more comfortable and get back to game speed like he used to be.
Bob, you mentioned one senior on the front line, one senior linebacker, one senior in the secondary. Sounds like you're telling us you're going to be pretty good on defense in 2012.
No, I just mean I think overall as a team we only started last in that game 7 seniors. So I think we're still very young overall as a team. I guess was the exciting part, for us as coaches, that we still feel a lot of development with a lot of these players. So that's the part we're excited, and that's what I meant. It's only the 6th game. We got to keep pushing for improvement because we got a lot more with so many, and so many young players that are playing.
Do you just wait until after the season, have a sit down about players that might think about coming out, like say Landry this year? You just what do you do as far as your timetable?
Well, I talk year round about the advantage and disadvantages and the whole process of it. So our guys get tired of hearing it, from fresh sophomores to juniors to seniors to. So to me, it's all about just understanding the process and then we in the summer they work with some people that can advise them and talk to them about it. And I don't mind that agents want to talk to them in the summer. We orchestrate that and can do it through our office so that it's done properly, as opposed to behind the door somewhere. And so it's really just about be smart about it, and so much of what's on TV, as you know by now, is not true. And so much of what an agent's going to tell you, he doesn't know. And so don't get hoodwinked. If you go into it, at least understand where you're going to go.
I'm sorry, Bob. What is your feeling about Landry? Some have him really, really high, but where is the point where you would think that it's not? You might advise him to not go pro.
It's not up to me to do that. I'm not going to advise him whether he should or shouldn't. I want him to really make an educated and have full understanding of what all it entails. For instance, look at the history of the draft and how many guys went out as quarterbacks of, that had another year, and what kind of success they had compared to the guys who didn't. I find it always interesting. Who knows the system and the game better than Archie Manning? His two sons were pretty special. They didn't go out early.
On Brandon,
It's worked out okay for them. Seemed to work out pretty good for Sam. So